Warheads, and welcome to the League, exploring the League of Legends lore from A to Z. My name is Rebecca.
And I'm John.
My name is Mark.
Today we're talking about the secret weapon Zac, who was released April 29th, 2013. I put when he was reworked, but it's been so many fucking times since his release.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Although he's always looked the same. They haven't changed anything there.
His lore has been pretty consistent, too, honestly.
Yeah, only kind of a few changes, but yeah.
They just can't figure out how to make him work, I guess, in game. He's one of those.
Yeah, especially, I feel like we don't often see a rework and then a second rework that just kind of puts it back to much of what the original was like. That's less common.
The old Control-Z.
Yeah.
Yep. Undo.
Yep. They're like, oh, we messed it up.
It's weird. I don't know. You would think that, like, the fantasy, right, of, like, being the big goo guy is, like, pretty straightforward. At least I would think, but I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot you could do with him, I guess, is the thing. There's a lot of different ways you can go with a guy who's made out of slime. You know what I mean?
There's so many things I could do with him.
So many.
That's it. Don't get me wrong.
Dicks out of every
In many
inch.
ways, yeah.
So
every orifice.
he can make as many orifices as he wants. What does he sound like?
He sounds just like a guy.
He has a really deep voice. I can't really do it, so I'll go first.
Well, just be him when he's lost like half of his health.
Oh, yeah. He's like real high pitched. Why, thanks. I do work out. Yeah, that's good.
Love it.
Thanks.
That's clever. That's smart. That's good thinking.
So you're always looking out for me, huh?
I got you.
Okay, he's like this is going to get messy.
Yeah.
Ooh, full health. Mm-hmm. I'll be a little less than full health, but I'll give it
You'll be in the middle.
A little poke. Just a little poke, right?
Mom always said I was big for my age.
Oh, he was real southern there.
There's a little southern.
Yeah, he's a real southern gentleman.
It's a little Tom Pinch. The beginning started out strong.
He ate a cowboy, and now
he's taking on.
He's
Kirby'd him.
He's kind of like Kirby.
Yeah, we all had the same fucking. All right. Well, on the universe page, he has just a bio short story and some old concept art, which kind of looks like they just use those for skins later. I feel like some of them.
Mm-hmm.
Although, not that he has a lot of skins, because they don't know how to make skins for a big blob of goo, I guess.
Yeah, it's
that was a real challenge for them for a while.
It really
I think.
was.
I guess it is hard, right? Because it's like he lacks a lot of that
clothes.
texture.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Things that don't just look like a recolor. You know what I mean?
And he needs to have those little blobs that fall off of him.
Yeah.
You can make those anything.
That's true.
That would be the fun part, right?
Right?
Yeah, right.
I'm surprised there's not an astronaut version of him, honestly. I feel like that would lend itself super well, just having his body be like a galaxy and like shoot little like of those meep stars from the astronaut.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, honestly, that would be pretty cool. Kind of like the Cosmic Zaya, like the what they got going on in their wings or whatever.
Yeah,
but for him,
wings.
Yeah. That would be pretty cool. Actually, I'm liking that idea.
That's just off the dome, Riot. Come on.
Make more Zac skins. Maybe no one buys them. Maybe that was just
I'm sure they don't.
That's probably
because if they did, they would make more skins. I guarantee
fair. Lux has 2 a year.
Right.
Right.
They're not a company to leave money on the table.
It's true. I'm struck by him and his that old art and even his current art, how like evil he looks. He's got a real jack-o'-lantern type, like an evil jack-o'-lantern.
I remember being shocked when someone told me that he was not a villain. I thought for sure he was evil. They're like, no, he's like a superhero in Zaun. I was like, what the fuck? Where? How? Look at him.
Right? Look at him. Especially in all of his like teaser shit. His teaser shit, he looked even more evil, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know why they do that with his face.
Yeah, he can make his face look whatever he wants.
Right. Maybe it's because he looks like too much like Majin Buu. It just kind of...
I don't know.
Majin Buu, rather.
Majin Buu.
Yeah. That like they're like, well, he has to look villain, right?
What's that?
It's a Dragon Ball.
A Dragon Ball.
The one who's kind of bulbousy with the little the exact thing on his head that Zac has.
I was thinking Oogie Boogie more.
Awesome. I can see that too.
He's like a weird he's an intersection between those two, kind of in a way.
If they had a baby.
It's
There's
interesting.
not a lot of
Obviously
heroes that look like Zack.
I think some of it's like, I'm trying to remember exactly what's going on in Splash. I think it's just like him busting out of his containment unit or whatever, right? But like, if you think about Galio, like, you know, some of it's the way that he's like posed and like the scene that he's in, right? You could have him still look like that, but if he was doing something that was clearly more, you know, like protecting some little Zaun orphan or something, right? Like, you know,
that
what I
would
mean?
reflect,
I don't know.
what's
Yeah.
going on. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe everyone wants to be a villain when they play a big blob monster, and it's weird that he's a hero.
Secret of the Ooze. All right, well, I'll go through his bio.
By Graham McNeil.
Shocked,
Right?
actually. All right, well, Zack was a normal puddle of goo and Zaun. He was described as a toxic spill that pooled in the sump. He was first discovered by Zaun children, obviously, who would skid rocks over, like, goo pools. That's what the poor Zaun kids have to do. They don't have real legs, so they skid rocks
How?
over the toxic waste.
How is this happy, fun playtime? Right?
But anyway, they skid one over the, you know, the rock, or the Zack puddle, and the pool threw the rock back. Kids love that, obviously, so word spread until Chemtech alchemists got word. Locals didn't want their fun pool taken away, but it was sucked up in a big vacuum and brought to a lab anyway. I'd be so
Imagine this
mad.
so cartoonish.
It's really
They show up with
very
this industrial
cartoonish.
vacuum.
And people are like, no,
Right.
no, not our pool. It throws rocks at us.
And that's the happiest we are down in Zaun,
That's
is when
the
people are throwing
happiest we
rocks
are.
at us.
In a playful way, John. Mm-hmm. Not in like kids by the train tracks kind of way. It's just like about Charlie and Mac. Anyway,
It's what was going on. That's what was happening.
that's how you spend Christmas. So they discovered that the goo responded to positive and negative treatment. So it could either like be very fun and playful or destroy all the shit around it. There were two alchemists who will never be named, although they're very important. They thought it meant that it was like sentient, basically. They didn't feel like they were doing something morally right anymore, like all of these kind of violent experiments that were being done. So they kind of dug into the funding of the whole thing and found out it was funded by Saito Takeda, I think, who was hoping to create an unkillable soldier, basically. The project was also called Zaun, Amorphous Combatant. So Zack, that's what they started calling him.
What?
The two alchemists... The two alchemists began to try to counteract all the violent things the team was teaching Zack. They grew attached to their new little gooey friend, so they stole him. It was during Zaun's Progress Day remembrance. They hid in some other part of Zaun after they fled. Bera and Takeda tried to find them, but couldn't, and the alchemists wanted to release Zack, but he was like, no, you're my parents now. So they adopted their new goo son. They lived happy for a little while, teaching Zack to be a good goo boy and then a good goo man. He started doing... Why did I write it like that?
Because it's fucking hilarious. Goo is a really fun word.
It is a real... I wrote it the one time and I was like, man, goo is good. He started doing superhero shit, though, to help others, which eventually got around to Saito Takeda. So he sent people after Zack, found only his parents, who were killed. Zack heard them fighting and tried to help, but was too late, so he killed all the thugs and destroyed many homes in the process. He felt bad about it, though. So he helped rebuild the homes, but then went into the pipes, which is where he lives now, all by himself. He kind of flows through, like, the emotions of the city, finding, like, joy in the joy of others, but also feeling their pain and their anger, so he tries to, like, help people to, you know, feel good. The end. That's Zack.
The end. Well
Yeah.
done. Mm-hmm. I really liked Zack. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I thought, like, the first part of his bio gave me big Star Trek vibes, you know, where they're kind of discovering that it's this, like, sentient thing, and they're having these moral compunctions. And, I don't know. I guess, like, he feels just broadly in his design like he fits into Zaun real well. I feel like you could really slot him into a lot of the stories with other characters, which we can talk about. And, I don't know. He worked for me, I guess. I feel like broadly.
I think my biggest complaint, and it doesn't have to do with the bio, but like I would love if it seems like one of the biggest themes from the beginning of the bio, and then the middle, and then the end again. They bring it up a lot. is the whole fact that he responds to external stimulus. Happy if people around him are happy and mad if people around him are mad. And I would love to see that reflected in his gameplay somehow, from it being such a big part of his character.
Yeah, because it's not even like he was reworked and it was taken out. That was never a part of his gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was also surprised by how big of a deal that was, because you don't see that.
Yeah, you would think that like something where maybe like damage over time effects like would be reduced, or if the more time he spends in combat, like the more damage he does, something like that. Or you could probably fiddle with it a bit.
Yeah,
I that makes sense. It's so funny. I didn't even like think about Zach like the League of Legends champion. It just feels like such an entirely different being to what like is described here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like the idea of Zach a lot. I don't even really mind him looking evil, because it's kind of fun that he looks like such a villain but isn't. My really complaint about the bio is that I feel not as much attachment to the alchemists as I would like to. I would at least like them to have names or something of that kind. But we know nothing, literally nothing about them. I think that was my only complaint about it, though.
I'd like them to still be alive. In his old bio, they're still alive.
They live.
Oh.
Yeah, they're all
that
happy.
Would be interesting. Yeah. If maybe he realized he was drawing too much attention to them, so he left, but he'll occasionally visit or something like that.
Something like that. I think it's... I could see maybe where their heads were at, where they were trying to really ape into like the superhero thing, and maybe trying to get into like a Batman dead parent space. I think it's just like, even when you read the story from his perspective, he's still like, I don't know, to me he still comes off almost as kind of very like he's still learning, right? He's still relatively young, like he's and I kind of like the idea of writing Zach as like a young teenager almost, or like a tween, right?
Oh, yeah.
Teenage
I don't know, it's not
Ninja
quite written
Goo.
that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's so easy for him to like
be...
sneak out, and they're trying to find out ways to like make it so he can't sneak out of the house when he's not supposed to.
He just has really big emotions, right? And he's learning about the world at large, and he just seems like he's really positioned to kind of explore some of that journey that we all go through, right? Where we're just feeling all these things, and it's like it's they're very hard feelings, but you also we see he kind of really wants to feel them, right? In some ways, I don't know.
Yeah.
So them dying is sort of like, I don't know. I agree. I'm not as connected to them.
You gotta lean into the superhero thing more if you want to do that. Like, give him a secret lair, like he's got a Zack cave instead of a Bat cave.
He does kind of have those. They're just a lot of them instead of just one.
He's just always in the pipes, I guess.
And one caverns.
He's just a pipeman,
I guess. I was curious though. I mean, I know why they can't have Zack and everything, but he seems to like really know what's going on in Zaun a lot of times, so it's wild to me that he doesn't constantly show up in like all of these horrible things that we see happen in Zaun. Like, Singe's experiments are not quiet. Like, is Zack not hearing these people screaming as they're being tortured? Like,
he had to have passed by the drains of Singe's warehouse at some point. Like, why is there so much blood in these drains? What is going on here?
There's normally an amount that I'm cool with. This is too much.
This is unacceptable.
It's funny you say that, because like I was thinking, I feel a lot with Zach, because I feel a lot how I felt with Alistar, where the stories that you could do with this guy in my mind really write themselves, and on top of that, he fits with a lot of what's going on in Zaun. Him and Blitzcrank are real similar in their journeys. Superhero, you've got Renata as a super villain. I would love to see Takeda, his personal villain, like go legit and be working under Glass Industries, and then that pulls Zack into like the Zeri Echo sort of coalition that's going on with their big super villain. I don't know. It's like you said, he kind of makes perfect sense that he could be anywhere. I will say, in any comic that's in Zaun or Piltover, if there's a pile of green goo, it could be Zack. You can't prove it's not.
That's true. Yeah, I do like the idea of him getting caught up in Takeda, because he hasn't mentioned Takeda at all. I mean, he's maybe not a creature of vengeance, although he did kill everyone who killed his parents, but he doesn't seem concerned that the Chem Baron who ordered that is still around.
Does he know, do you think? I know the alchemist
Maybe he
knew.
doesn't.
Maybe
I don't
they
know.
never told him.
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? It's like, I like the idea that he doesn't know and has never made that connection, and then at some point stumbles upon it and is pulled into this larger sort of conflict, right?
Yeah, that can go along with him being young too, like feeling very young.
Sure. Yeah. The other thing I was going to say, and they make a little mention of it in, I think in the bio is that the reason they're still looking for him is because they've been still trying to make another one of them with some of the scraps that are left over.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying evil Zack, right? Imagine two Zacks, like his purple skin Zack versus base skin Zack, and they're like fighting in the pipes, and like all of a sudden, like, oh man, I think you could do so much. You have a really fun like action pieces with those two because they're all their goo, two goo boys going at it.
That's what a sentence.
Yum yum.
That would made it so much worse.
But yeah, so it's like I don't know. I guess what I mean to say is like a lot of maybe potential. There's a lot of like setups where he feels like he would fit really well with other characters without being a main character type. You still have Echo and Zeri maybe in the forefront, but Zack could very well. Big guy, he kind of like, again, big guy, littler guys. He slots in perfectly. I don't know.
You know he's not missing a Seraphine concert.
But that was the other one thing I was going to say is that like he kind of made Seraphine work a little more to me.
Yeah,
because he's kind of got the empath thing going on too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
she could help him understand what's going on a little. Like. I don't know.
I just in general want to see one of the other characters interact with him and react to him. Like Echo's seen a lot of shit in Zaun, but imagine like a thing just comes out of the pipes and like saves his life, and he's like, "What the fuck are you?"
you know, Echo would be like, "Cool." Like Echo would play it so cool,
and inside he's like, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah. You just have to rewind like 10 times just
to stare at him, like, watch him come out of the pipes.
He's mentioned in Convergence, but I don't think he actually makes an appearance.
Yeah.
I know I gave it shit the whole Zack thing, but it is better than Perv, so I'll give him that.
What?
Blitzcrank's machine for pairing people.
Oh my god, I forgot about that thing.
Yeah.
So when they first find Zack, the way it's described as eventually he drew the attention of a shadowy cabal of Chemtech alchemists. So like those two alchemists that were like, maybe this isn't moral. Like y'all joined a shadowy cabal. Like, what did you think was gonna happen?
They were new members.
Maybe they're new hires, right? They're just low-level techs.
They lured them in with promises of punch.
I was gonna say they got lured in by like the nice farmland and the orgies or whatever it was. That's how it always starts nice,
right?
It's
we're
like
alchemists, but we're spelled with a Y if you join ours. Like, shit!
Cannot get over how annoying it is to read that.
Right?
I kept staring. Like, do you want me to say alchemist? Because that's what I'm reading every time I see it with my alchemist.
The alchemist.
I like alchemist because it sounds childish.
Right?
What
like
they just
Santa
did
Claus.
Yes, Santa Claus. Kidnap the alchemist. Lock him in a bit.
And then the Oogie Boogie shit from earlier? Yeah.
Man, I'm just thinking about Nightmare
Full circle.
Christmas today, I guess. I'm just waiting for Halloween, y'all. I don't care if it's June 5th.
I liked, there was one line where they mentioned after they decided like, oh, maybe this thing is sentient, and they decided to like raise the alarm that maybe they were doing bad. The way they said it was, they brought their findings to the spindle-limbed leader of their research team, but their concerns were ignored. Like, fucking dog him. It's classic
Right.
spindle-limb leader behavior right there.
God, we know more about the leader than the alchemists.
Right?
Alchemists
trust
are.
I don't know anything
stickmen.
about those
I
other
don't even know what
alchemist
they
limbs.
look like. I was gonna call them mommy and daddy, but I was like, I don't know.
If he had been a character from like old lore or something, I would have been that would have made more sense. I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, he is from 2013, Mark.
Right? So old.
Maybe. Well, this isn't the original bio. I don't know when this got
Oh,
written.
fair.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
So, the quote here too, they sought to show Zack right from wrong, exposing him to acts of altruism and generosity. And like, are we just going to sit here and pretend that this isn't the storyline of the doctor who tried to prevent M. Bison from turning into Blanca in the Street Fighter movie?
Oh, jeez.
Well, I am because I've not seen that movie, I'll be honest with you.
Oh no, and you were
Is that
high
also-
when you saw it.
Well, I am now too, so it's okay. It kind of like flows
Is it
me
bringing
back.
it back?
Yeah, a little
The
bit.
sense memory?
Although I forgot what you were talking about until you finished the sentence. Yeah, I kind of feel that. I feel like they're more successful than they were in Street Fighter.
hey,
And that guy
he
looked
saved...
real bonkers when he got out of that box.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the doctor can't change how he looks, but he didn't immediately kill everyone, so, I mean, he did his job.
Sure. Everyone watch Street Fighter.
Is that the story also from the actual games, or is that a unique story to the movie?
I had no idea.
Okay.
I kept
I
asking.
mean,
The latter.
I know technically that, like, the whole thing with Guile's partner Charlie being kidnapped and turned into Blanca, that is actually that's from the game, but I don't know about the whole doctor trying to prevent him from turning into total murder machine. That might have been added in for flavor, who knows.
You mean they changed something from the source material in the Street Fighter movie?
I know, like turning Guile, the perfect American soldier, into a Belgian Jean-Claude Van Damme with the most Belgian accent ever. It also said, when the laboratory was empty, they drained Zack into a wheeled septic tank and dragged him to a far distant part of Zaun. So, are we going to sit here and pretend that that's not Free Willy?
I wrote that in my notes originally, that they pulled a Free Willy, dude. And then I was like, John's going to make fun of me.
Why would you think that?
Wow.
I don't know.
John hates whales.
I love Free Willy. That was one of my favorite movies as a child. We watched it like all the time.
And then he eased to freedom over somebody.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh my
yeah.
God. Free Zack.
I wrote a Free Willy comic. Well, I didn't end up illustrating it because it turned out to be too hard for me.
Oh, okay.
But in the comic, Fizz was fighting Annie, and then Fizz throws the fish on Annie, and Annie's like, ah! And then they both kind of wait a second, and they're like, where's the... It was the Tundra one, whose thing was a killer whale. It's like... And then you see this shot from Free Willy with the whale jumping over the... So, it said that Zack learned to talk by mimicking their voices.
True.
So which one of his parents do you think had that cool-ass,
That deep voice? Maybe both of them. Maybe they were
can't
two
tell each other
burly
apart.
dudes.
That's true. We do know nothing about them.
Which dad is this?
True.
So it said that now Zack lives alone, dwelling in the tunnels and caverns threading Zaun, which means that there is a Zack Rio buddy comedy waiting to happen here.
Who?
Rio.
Can't wait for it.
Flushed away is my guess.
It's
No.
It's that lizard monster from Arcane that Singed
Oh.
has the mutations with.
I don't know why I thought you were referencing the animated movie Flushed Away.
What's this wee thing? I just didn't know it at all. Oh, okay. I think it's a wee.
Rio. Okay.
Yeah, I forgot that's the name of it, to be honest with you.
Because we know from the short story that Zack does have magical healing powers. And we know Rio was technically alive. So, I mean, and we know that Singed was not being nice to Rio there. I could see like a rescuing and then a partnership there. I'd love that shit.
Maybe that'll be in season 2?
Maybe.
Make it happen.
I like the idea of Zack, having messed with Singed before, so Singed sort of knows that he has to sort of hide himself in the most miserable parts of Zaun, where he'll kind of blend into the background noise.
I don't think Zack goes there as much now because all the misery
He's
affects
just
him.
mad all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I feel like they mentioned that he didn't, want to go in the
doesn't
sump
like
or
it.
something like
Yeah.
that.
So I kind of like the idea that Singed knows, because it makes total sense that Zack would intervene more. But maybe Singed, he's a scientist, he realizes that and purposely kind of keeps himself in the shittiest, saddest part of Zaun.
Probably much easier to
Could be
find
fun.
test subjects there too.
That's fair. I'm
Sure.
curious if Zack ever, if he has memories, of his very, very early days as a puddle that kids threw rocks at. I'd really like him to revisit that area. I feel like the kids would love him.
That would be pretty sweet, honestly.
But he
That
gets
would- that would give us a
confused
good
and just
chance
goes
to-
there and starts
Starts
chucking rocks
pelting
at kids.
I'm like, this is what you like.
You love this!
It's like a tiny little hole. It's like, oh, it used to look so big when I was little. But that would be a great way to give us insight into like his parents and the relationship with them, and sort of flesh them out and make that feel a lot stronger. That could be very touching, I will say. I was in a mood, I think, when I read Zach, where I was really feeling like, oh, this little baby boy is like sucking Zaun all alone. You know he's goo, but yeah.
You saw your daughter in that goo.
Don't worry, he'll throw her back. It's fine.
That's how they baptize people in Zaun. Throw them through the Zach goo.
I mean, it's honestly probably cleaner than the water, so.
Right?
Oh, God. I am mildly curious how a sentient goo came to be. But I also...
just say that, like...
Yeah. I also don't know if I want, like, the midichlorian answer. You know what I mean? Like, maybe some things are better left as a mystery.
I mean, his old lore was also very much just, like, he was an experiment. Like, they didn't find him and then experiment on him. They, like, created him from scratch, which also kind of makes more sense. But, you know, who knows what goo does? Not me. I'm not a goo... scientist.
I don't play Zach.
A guru, John. It was right there.
A goo alchemist.
A guru. Okay, never mind.
No, yours was better.
It was good.
It was good, and you both talked over me.
Everyone's just trying to get it in. Everyone's just trying to get their whatever joke they can think of in.
Do you want to go to the short story?
By Graham
sure. This one's
McNeil.
also by Graham McNeil. Yeah. This one's called Protection. Hey-yo. No. Like, half his lines sound like chat-up lines, I'll say, in his voiceover. Right?
His voice sounds like
you know
what?
how to get that? His voice lines.
Sound like what?
Pickup lines.
Sound like he's chatting somebody up in a bar.
Oh.
I don't know. What do you say? Like, why, yeah, I do work out.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Beat up or beat down. I'm flexible.
Oh, God. Okay. Well, that...
He had a bunch of them.
I think maybe you were also in a mood when you were reading Zach's quotes, perhaps.
Perhaps, yeah. Why, thanks. I do. Well, yeah. I'm not as squishy as I look, because he can make himself.
He's
Make
a
himself
grower.
How's it going?
hard.
He has a line that's just, how's it going? Right? Like, that's just him, like, next to you. How's it going? Right? Like,
The sound effect that accompanied that.
there's plenty of me to go around. I don't know. I'm just saying Zach gets a little freaky.
He's a little
Anyway.
freaky. I'd like him to have more lines. He had way less than I was expecting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they like that wasn't part of his rework at any point.
No.
He just never got them new lines.
Yeah, and maybe something that was maybe a little bit more rather than just, how's it going?
Literally, yeah. How's it going? Being one of his lines
all
is
this
wild.
They were secretly recording somebody, just some random rioter. Like, okay, just like cobble something together. Like, get Tim to just go ask him a few questions, right?
Everyone make a phone
Tim,
call
do you
and
work
write
out?
down lines. Do you work out?
Tim, were you a big kid? It's like, well, Mom always said I was big for my age, I guess. You know what I mean?
This is sounding increasingly plausible.
Right. So Protection, it's from Zach's perspective. It's like a night on the town. Well, not on the town. It's just like his normal evening where he is kind of enjoying it's like his favorite time of the night, which is when everyone gets off their shifts and gets to go back home. And it's really all these good feelings that he can kind of absorb. Everyone's looking forward to getting home. Every now and then there's someone who's like, can't stand another day of work or feels kind of sad about something. But for the most part, it's pretty good. You know, he's kind of squelching around in the pipes. You know, he fixes some things. You know, there's like a busted air vent, and so he kind of is squelching through, and he'll pick up pieces of metal and then kind of them in the places they need to be to sort of fix it. He starts going a little bit closer to the sump, and he does talk about, like we said, he doesn't really like being down there because it's like there's not really a lot of happiness down there. When he feels those emotions, they really fill him up. But then he feels this like sharp sting of like anguish where it kind of shouldn't be. Where normally there's not a bunch of sadness, and he kind of under he goes into like the crawl space underneath the floor of this house, and there is some thugs who are robbing some shopkeepers essentially, and they've stabbed it's a man and a woman. They've stabbed the woman, and he's like, oh, I know these types. They're here for protection money, and he sort of up through the grate and kind of forms up behind the thugs, and he fights them off. And at one point he uses some of his in-game abilities. At one point they pop his passive, and the guy thinks that he's killed Zach, but then Zach reforms, and his feet are where his hands were, and he kind of shoots out and crushes the guy against the wall. And after the aftermath, he can feel that the shopkeepers are sort of they're scared but grateful. It's, this big goo monster showed up, and so he goes and like John had said, he puts a little tiny bit of himself in the woman who's been stabbed because that will heal her. And he does make a point to say that he can never regrow it. It's like a permanent thing that he's lost. But it's okay because he's helped somebody. And then they thank him, and he goes off, and he goes off to go find more good feelings to kind of get over this feeling. Because like when he was fighting those guys, he makes a point also saying that he was, he has to almost kind of feed off of the violent feelings that they feel in order to do what he needs to do, right? But yeah, that's Zach. He's off to go help more people. Right.
I have a complaint from the beginning of this story.
Is it that first sentence of your notes?
Yes.
That's great. Okay.
Yes, it is. Zach immediately has a quote that says, "They're bone tired." Like, what the fuck do you know about bones, Jello boy? That's not something you'd say.
Damn. Shit. Stay in your lane, Zach. This is vertebrate shit over here, okay?
No bones about it. You don't know a thing.
Damn.
It's not a big deal, though. It is surprising coming from Graham McNeil, who I feel like historically is very good at just inventing phrases for people that would make sense in their environment.
What would he say? They're goo tired?
Let's see. They're spread too thin.
Ooh,
that's
shit.
pretty good.
That was
That's
real
pretty good,
man.
actually. That was really good, yeah. Ship it.
I also loved, he had a quote that said, "After all, life in Zaun can be hard. Some people are nursing broken hearts, while others can't stomach the thought of another shift." Like, yeah? That's what you think is hard about fucking Zaun?
And also,
broken hearts and long shifts? Like, you've been through the pipes. You literally are just about to go to someone who's being stabbed for protection money. I think it's more than the broken hearts and the long shifts, Zach.
I think he's got to check out Piltover for some perspective.
Right.
That's pretty funny.
It's such a romantic view of Zaun.
Yeah.
It'd be perfect if not for the broken hearts and the long shits.
Oh, with the
All those
stabbings,
lonely
I
hearts
guess.
and Zaun. And the stabbings.
Yeah.
Every now and then, whatever. To be fair, he doesn't really go down into the shitty part of Zaun.
Because he knows how shitty it is.
Yeah.
Because he knows how shitty it is. Yeah.
Also, this was an interesting bit that I feel like, again, kind of missing from his in-game kit, and a very interesting little tidbit. When he picks up those pieces of metal and puts them back, he superheats his body to weld them in place, which is the first time they ever mention that. And man, that seems like
hot.
it'd be useful for fucking crime
Everything?
fighting and everything.
Right? Because at one point, one of the guys tries to hit him with a wrench, and the wrench just sort of like bloop into the goo, right? It doesn't do anything. Like, what if his hand got stuck and Zach like superheated his body and like, I don't know, he melt the guy. Like, let's say he's got an augment, right? And he kind of melts the augment away. Something like that.
Cool as hell.
Less gruesome, but yeah, that would be cool.
Right, it's a little less gruesome. That's like more the speed, like a nice like TV 13 is what we're kind of looking for.
That's
Although he
where
does
Zach
like,
is.
like I said, he does squish the guy in this. He makes like when he's killing these guys, it's like he talks about how he smashes one guy into the ceiling, and he can see that like, oh yeah, those limbs are not bending the way they should be. Right, I know for sure.
He knows about those bones at least.
Yeah. Well, he does have that bit where after he's killed them all, he goes to talk to the shopkeepers, and he forms a face kind of where he thinks it should be. He doesn't quite know exactly where it is, which I thought was kind of neat.
It's on his ass. He's not even close.
I hear this phrase
You're
a
not
lot too.
citizen.
So
He's on all fours. Oh man.
I assume everyone talks out of their ass from the amount of times that people say that. I did find it funny. So after Zach crushes that dude's bones, and then after he slingshots himself into the other dude and crushes him too, that's the point where the leader... And this is also after one of the dudes hits him with a stabby bit, and Zach just absorbs it like no fucking problem. And after all that, that's when the leader decides to try hitting him with another slashy bit.
Well, I think the first one I thought specifically was a wrench, like a blunt weapon versus an edged weapon, is I thought the distinction. I have to reread it, but I was pretty sure that's how I read it.
No, you're probably right.
It made sense to me.
Though, as that person, I would have, like, you're having a lot of faith that you've cracked this guy's weakness in the 2 seconds you saw him murder all your thugs.
I guess, like, what else do you do?
Fucking run.
Yeah, you're not running from Zach.
He's a big pile of goo. Who knows?
Right?
He's really slow. He has to, like, Alex Mack back down and, like, slide across.
I mean, gelatinous goo, it's real slow move speed.
Yeah.
You don't know.
It's true. Maybe it's like, it's all just happening like, very fast, right? This is all like, this is 6 second rounds. Like, you know what I mean?
All he knows is hook guys. That's,
yeah.
When the only tool you have is a hook, everything looks like a person who wants to be hooked.
That's what they say. I'm pretty sure.
That's how the saying goes.
I think so.
I don't know. There were little bits in this I liked. Things like him forming the face where he thought it should be. I like when he gets his passive pops, and it's very disorienting because all of a sudden he just can see from all these different points of view all those little bloblets. So it does take him a second. I was like, oh, that makes kind of sense that's kind of how it would be.
Yeah.
Or little mentions of I think when he smashes one of the guys, how he's purposefully sort of changing. He changes the density of himself so that it's harder, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that was pretty fucking cool.
For I guess for a little action piece, this hit the notes that I want. Where I'm in Zach's head, I know where he's at. He's got kind of a voice. His sentences are a little not stilted. How would you kind of describe them? The way he sort of thinks, this feels bad. I don't want to feel bad. Very simple almost.
Yeah. It was very simple. Yeah.
Very elementary sentences.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you show off some fun. You play around a little bit with the things he can do. And I think for a pretty short piece, he played around with it pretty well. He does a number of kind of interesting things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He should pick up a Warmogs. It would let him leave way more slivers of himself around.
Sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He could heal everyone.
How much of that you think he can do? Do you think it's just a little molecule? Is this I
don't know how much goo he left there. Was it a quarter cup or a tablespoon?
You can just scoop out a little bit, take a little bite.
Yeah. I do kind of want to bite him.
Right?
We talked about edibility.
You are so horny.
Not in that way, in a hungry way.
What do you think he tastes like?
I'm thinking sour apple Jolly Rancher.
Ooh.
I know. See. My first thought was also sweet, but I don't think so. I think he would have a very briny, salty.
Ooh, a salty.
Sort of,
maybe it depends on his mood.
Almost musky.
Well, the thing is, original lore, he's got a hell of a sweet tooth.
That's true. That's true. They should keep that detail. That'd also be a fun little character detail for him.
Right?
He looks like Slurm from Futurama. I wonder if he would taste like Mountain Dew.
I was going to say Flubber, but I mean...
Flubber. Oh, man. I saw that movie in the theater, dude.
Damn, we should watch Flubber.
I haven't seen Flubber, I think, since the theater. When I was 7. I don't know. Whenever it came out. Same. I was young. Anyway.
Yeah. We talked about a lot of his old lore already. Let me see if there's anything we missed. Let's see. They sang to him. That was one of the specific things that they noticed that he liked.
Oh, the alchemists.
Yeah, the old alchemists.
Alchemists.
One day, when putting him back in his cage for experiments, he became inconsolably sad.
Aww.
And they realized he wants freedom, so they freed him and raised him. There is one wild quote here that I fucking loved. Zach was always different from the other children. Yeah, no shit. He's a fucking blob of goo.
He's a glob. He's a big green glob. Now I want to see Zach in elementary school with all the other Zaun orphans.
Thinking of a foster home or something like that that's run by these old nuns, and this one old nun just doesn't even know that he's a blob of glue. He's like, oh, he's so much different from the other boys. I don't know what it is about him.
We never had a goo child before, so we just thought it'd be easier if we just told him he was just a normal kid.
I'd watch that.
Right?
Holy shit, that's pretty funny.
And
It's like the Grinch when the Grinch got adopted. Like the Jim Carrey one, the old lady.
Yeah.
Shit.
in this one, they kidnapped his parents as a way to like get him to come out, and then he shows up and rescues them.
Aw, I love that.
I kind of like that more.
Yeah,
It makes more sense too. Like they're looking
It's
for
just a little more-
Zach, and they only find the alchemist. You would think they would try to find out where Zach was, not just kill them outright. You know,
right. They even make a point in the new bio of saying that they were specifically told to take them alive, and they killed them anyway.
Yeah. Like, why would they? They didn't have like a grudge against them. Yeah. Oops.
Whoopsie doodle. Those crazy alchemists.
Alchemists. Yeah.
There is a short story
Oh.
called Zaun Amorphous Combatant, which are basically just lab notes from the experiments run on Zach.
Oh.
There are some highlights here. There, because he was, like I mentioned, he was just engineered to be a killing machine. So one of the notes was, "Ooh, high damage output, tons of damage." Specimen is potentially overpowered.
They couldn't help themselves.
Right. This is fine. This is where we find out that he loves sweets and he steals candy all the time from people. And the notes basically cover the progression of him as an experiment to the scientists realizing he's adorable, then to the other scientists realizing, hey, these two scientists might be getting a little too close to the test subject. And then they get an official citation for all of the unofficial experiments they're doing for like singing and music and dancing and shit. And then they attempt to remove the two of them from the project. And finally, the group absconds with Zach. And then we see the Chem Baron's authorization to get him back by any means necessary. Use force if you have to. I do like in the old lore, the Chem Baron gives permission to kill, and they take him alive. And in the new one, he's like, specifically take him alive, and they kill him.
Makes them seem more incompetent. Yeah.
Have either of you all seen the movie Splice?
I haven't.
No, I'm familiar
Very
with
lucky. Terrible movie.
Aw.
But it does remind me of this in the way that there's like two scientists who get attached to like some weird creature that they've made, and then they take it. It doesn't end as happily for them, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a
that's
Shyamalan
my
one,
understanding.
right?
I don't
Oh, no,
think
that was
so.
Split.
That's Split. No,
My bad,
Splice
my
is
bad.
like an alien science thing. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't remember who was in it.
I like this thing a lot, though. I wish they still had this in the like. They should just keep this because
Right? It was so good.
It's pretty cool how it's presented because it's like the notes, and then on top of that, you got the little like personal notes from the parent alchemists, where you can kind of like it's written in a different ink on top of the printed notes of like, you know, like them kind of having their feelings. There's like a partially covered letter that's written in the same ink, which is like one of them writing to the other about how like they have to help Zach, and then in like the last one, I'm pretty sure that there's an invitation to his first birthday is what is partially covered in that last one. It's like you're cordially invited to the first or something like that. Like, and then the rest of it's kind of covered
cute.
up.
It's like pictures of Elmo.
Yeah, or like
Yeah, and in
He
the
has a Mundo
citation, they're
doll.
like, oh, he removes... That's cute.
he's got a goo covered Mundo doll that's like in one of the images.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
The
amazing.
images are pretty cute, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like one of the notes is the official citation. It's like, we move to remove these two scientists from the project, and then in the red ink, it's like, ha! Like to see you try. And now there are a few cinematics here too. First one, the Mac client cinematic.
I haven't talked about this one in a while.
Yeah. Now this is, I think, also technically before his release.
Oh.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I don't even think they officially confirmed it as Zach, though it's clearly Zach from several things make me think it. One, there's a piece of creeping goo. And back then, he was really attracted to sweets, and the creeping goo creeps into a Caitlin trap to eat the cupcake and then gets snapped.
That's got to be on
Yeah.
purpose.
And then he shows up in Road to the Cup, the 2013 World Cinematic, which was the first cinematic where they had players taking on the, traits of their most played champs. And we get to see Meteos' Zac.
Ah.
Remember Meteos on Zac?
Yeah.
Shit was great.
Mm-hmm.
Just his arms become Zac, as I recall.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
His feet at one point. When he does that massive axe kick. Yeah, it was fun. Good cinematic. But yeah, that's canon Zac. We have a few AUs if you want to...
Yeah, I feel like I haven't looked at his skins much because I've never played him.
Yeah.
All right, first of all, Legacy. Treasures from days long past, glimmering just within reach. This is Special Weapon Zac, which has no lore.
Oh. Not shocking, I guess.
Yeah, it kind of just sounds like Zac, Zac was already kind of a special weapon.
Maybe this is if he never got taken out and he became the full proper...
Right. This is the one that they built. This is who they're going to have the shot.
Yeah.
The big
That's what I'm saying.
standoff. Then we've got Sunkissed Summer Pool Party. It's summer, baby. The sun's out, the breeze is warm, and the water's cool. Everybody's leaving their rivalries and grudges at home and bringing only swimsuits and good vibes. There'll be plenty of time for punching and yelling later. Just sit back, enjoy the music, and soak up the fun. This is Pool Party Zac. If a guy made of water jumps into the pool, does he become the pool? Or just part of the pool? Or does the pool become him? This is a very serious question.
It is, though. You gonna dive into that shit?
Right? Sure. I don't want to dive into Zac.
He's got a fish inside of him. In the skin.
Fun fact about this one. 1, Earth can be seen in the pool he jumps into during his recall animation. And 2, this skin originally showed up in Renekton's Pool Party Splash before he actually got his own skin. He was just kind of a background character in Renekton's Splash.
Nice.
Yeah. Then we've got Battle Cast. Let me see if I can do this in my best Victor voice.
Ooh.
The glorious revolution is here, assembling an army of machines with living brains. Victor marches against the combined forces of his enemies with only a scrappy human-led resistance, keeping him from total world domination.
Domination! What? Domination?
I know, it's like he's in the room with us.
He was in the room with us.
His Battlecast Zac. Never content with his extant creations, Victor's latest innovation has forged an experimental alloy that shifts between liquid and solid states, incredibly flexible yet nigh indestructible. This new zoophagous assault constructs, or Zacs, spring onto the battlefield, harvesting and consuming any resistance that stands in their way.
Man, there was
this is pretty cool. I hadn't seen this one.
5 years between Pool Party and that skin.
Yeah,
Jeez,
he
really?
doesn't get a lot. I do like that they came up with a different acronym for Zac on this one.
Yeah, that's cute.
I think it'd be funny if you got a different acronym in every AU.
That would be really good.
There are so few, you might as well. You could do it.
Now we got Neon Strata. The first Empyrean, Pike tears through the realms on a destructive rampage against his counterparts, birthing new Empyreans in the process. Who will reign supreme as these new powerhouses emerge, and what will they do with their rapidly dwindling time left? This is Empyrean Zac. The foreglow affects everyone differently. For Zac, it burned away all of his insecurities, but opened up his senses to the loneliness felt by the other Zacs across the realms. They needed him, and now he has the power to bring everyone together as one. A family reunion for the ages.
So I DC'd a little bit during that, I'll be honest with you. Oh, it happened again.
That Oogie
What's
Boogie.
going on?
Oh, yeah.
Why is it always like this?
Oh, he paused in the best pause.
Oh my god. What a face. That's a real Aura face.
I wonder if he's ever going to come back.
I think so. Come back, Zach. So how you doing, hon?
Oh, I'm good.
Yeah.
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 How are things?
Great. My daughter's still awake, but
Yeah.
yeah.
She's not
Just
holding
chilling.
up the bunny with her feet anymore.
That's
and
true.
Pulling its ears and pretending
Dropping
to
it
be
on her
Superman.
face. Yeah.
There we go. Okay, we're back.
There he is.
Hey.
Hey, no
You were making the cutest little snarky smile ever when you froze. And
Oh, well, thank God. At least you
great.
had something entertaining.
Now, last up here, we have a skin that I had never heard of and was so
these
happy
are
to
brand
see.
new. Yeah.
This is the Food Fight AU. Both mouth-watering and faux slaughtering. These foods aren't going down without a fight. And this is Zesty Dip Zach. Zach is Nacho Average Ooze Monster.
Oh, I'm bringing that up.
Did you write this? Did you write this whole thing?
He doesn't even have this skin. He's the snack that fights back. Topped with jalapenos, chips, and bacon bits, this sentient cheese blob is the life of the party, and a nightmare for lactose-intolerant eaters everywhere.
There's so much good about this skin. He's got a backwards cap on, and then he has a puffy vest that he's wearing. Jorts.
Which you know he made himself.
They're definitely cut off. They're the cutoffs from Arrested Development specifically. And then black flip-flops, which are mush between his gooey cheese feet. It's unreal. And then chips and like jalapenos are flying off of him. I want nachos so
I
fucking
know.
bad now.
Right?
You describing Zach has made me so fucking hungry.
Now, fun fact about this one, too. The names and designs of his chromas, with the exception of the ruby chroma, are all based on various types of condiments, desserts, and sauces.
Oh my god. Okay, black sesame, blue sundae, chocolate fondue, dessert dip, forest berry jelly, guacamole, pesto, and ruby.
Ruby.
Yeah.
Someone really fucking...
They're like, you need a red one.
Jeremy's job was to come up with one fucking...
Lasagna, maybe.
right?
Marinara. Yeah, there you go. Whatever. Easy peasy.
Marinara, yeah.
Damn, this makes me want to learn and play Zach just so I can play with this skin and these chromas.
Right.
Mid-Zac, fuck it.
Sure, fuck it.
His guacamole chroma is based on a fan art concept by Vlad Bacescu. So,
Nice.
nice work on that one. It looks good.
It's really good. Makes me want guac.
Right. Now I have a few fun facts for you.
Okay.
Zach's sound effects originated from dog food and beans inside a condom slapped against a wall.
I've heard that before, yeah.
Why? Why a condom?
'Cause it gives that good slap.
The good stuff.
Yeah, I think that was part of the Riot the mini doc about how the sound team does their Foley art.
Someone sat there and with their hands put dog food inside of a condom. Mm-hmm. And they got paid like $25 an hour to do that.
What a lucky duck.
Right?
Would that it were I. Yeah.
All right, well, that was 2/3 dog food and 1/3 beans. What should we try next? I didn't quite have the slurp we needed.
I love
I think
that.
we can get Schlorpier.
We can get slurpier for sure, dude.
Zach made a cameo in Battle Bunny Riven's artwork before his release.
Oh.
He's just
Yeah,
like
didn't that lead to a bunch of
fan
a bunch of
theories
memes
and-
of yeah.
Now I gotta look at that. Is it still in like the one now?
It's like a little
it is,
silhouette.
yeah.
It's a silhouette.
It's kind of hard to see. You can't look at it on the wiki specifically because all of the tags on the bottom of a picture exactly cover where he shows up. But he's on right there, the little Oogie Boogie silhouette back there.
Oh, I see the face now when you zoom
Yeah,
in.
doesn't he look like a villain? More like a villain in that. He's like, "Argh!"
It looks like a Goron from Zelda.
And those guys are assholes. So.
No, they're not. Stop
What,
it.
they just want to eat some rocks?
Yeah.
And roll around. But the rolling
That's
around
Zach to a
hurts
T.
me because I'm bad at stepping out of the way. And that's their fault.
You gotta throw a bomb at him.
Zac is the only champion that can be damaged by regular smite, due to his cell division's chunks being coded as minions. He's also the only to have 2 separate laugh animations.
Does he have one when he's in his passive?
I don't think so, but that's a good question. I don't know. We mentioned this before, but the pitch level of his voice changes based on how much health he currently has.
When did they add that? Because that wasn't always there, was it?
I would assume it was.
Man,
but
I didn't notice it
know.
until like a couple of years
might not
ago,
have been.
I feel like.
I never played him, so...
No, me neither.
Yeah.
Zac is one of 6 champions that use health as a resource for their abilities. And finally, this is just a fun one from my time at Riot that I remember. There was a bug before Zac even made it to the PBE they patched out beforehand, but they shared a video with us where his W goo, where he just kind of like sprays goo around him, would only come from his crotch. And his crotch would also stretch forward and back every time he cast it.
They did that on purpose. You can't. That was not a bug. Someone slipped that in there. Was it you, Mark? Was it you?
I'll never tell.
Yeah, that's
Pretty good.
Those are my Zac facts.
Those were beautiful. And that was Zac. Any final thoughts?
No,
Give him more stories.
Yeah, more stories.
Yeah.
And give us gameplay.
Utilize the secret
some
weapon.
shit.
I know. I would love to see some hint of Zac in Arcane. I don't know, though. That would be a weird one to try to squeeze in there. But he can fit.
I was going to say, there's a lot of... they throw a lot of random cameos or Easter eggs in there. I would love it as just one of those. I'd be happy with that, even.
Sure, yeah.
That would be fun. Well, that was Zac. Thank you so much for listening. We have a Twitch, twitch.tv/loreheads. I stream Tuesdays and Fridays. We all play League together. By we all, I mean I play with John. Mark tries to join sometimes on Friday. Yeah.
And then the baby wakes up 15 minutes into the game.
Yeah. And John streams on Saturdays. He does TFT and ARAMs with viewers. So if you want to join in on a game, figure out how to play TFT. I can't help you, but John can help you.
I can help.
He's a TFT master.
Well,
Literally.
well, not literally. I'm D1, not quite master.
Well, you hit master with Pags, yeah?
Wait, did we? I forget.
Wait,
What did
do
I
I
share
even
the
play
screenshot
TFT
of?
at all?
You know what? I think we may have.
You did. You sent us
You
a
don't remember?
screenshot. Honey.
It was so long ago.
Do you remember your daughter's birth?
Huh? We have a daughter?
All right. We also have a YouTube. You want to see her beautiful faces? John has some fun parodies on there, and he posts clips and whatnot. So you can check out our YouTube, and we have a Patreon. Thank you so much to all of our patrons.
But a very special thank you to our Medarda tier patrons, King of Hearts and Mr. Dead. If you were being experimented on in Zaun, and I was one of the scientists, I would also abscond with you in the middle of the night, and we would live happily together in a quiet corner of Zaun. You know what? Actually, no. I'm not going to take you to a quiet corner of Zaun. I'm going to take you out of Zaun, where there's much less suffering. Like
You're gonna give all this up. You're gonna give up all this life and so on.
God, I didn't even think of that. They could have went anywhere. Well, not anywhere. Runeterra's rough, but Ionia might have been good for Zac.
Yeah.
All the magic
I've got
and
it.
spirits. Oh,
Maybe they go to Piltover, and then Renata orchestrates them getting found out and captured or something, right?
ooh, I can see that. She would do that
Something like
shit. I don't think Pilties would appreciate Zac, but now I'm imagining him putting on pants and a hat and a jacket. and
because
gloves
you've seen Zesty and Nacho Cheese Sack. Now you know what it looks like.
He puts his jorts
like
on
a
when-
long sleeve, not a jorts, to disguise himself. He's like green goo underneath his disguise.
He's kind of little
This is
rascaling
wobbly.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be pretty. Oh god, you have so many gags, right? Like someone's
So
walking along, he go like right through a grate or something like that,
when
and there's
he
just a
walks
hat and
over.
jacket.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yes.
Now I'm just imagining
on-
Raphael
oh my
from
God.
the first Ninja Turtles movie in his like trench coat and hat.
As if that was doing anything. Well, anyway, please be sure to join us next week because we're going over somebody whose lore we've already talked about in its entirety, the Master of Shadows, Zed.